Before we begin, let us know in the comments what city and country you're watching from and what time it is there right now. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe because the story you're about to hear might just restore your faith in humanity. When every other race turned their backs, one species refused to walk away. And that choice? It changed the galaxy forever. The stars were supposed to be a promise, a vast, glittering expanse filled with possibility, unity, and hope. For generations, the Galactic Concord preached that message, binding hundreds of species into a single cooperative alliance. Trade flourished, knowledge was shared, and the border worlds thrived under the watchful eyes of peaceful fleets. But peace is a delicate thing, beautiful in form, yet brittle at its core. When the Vrix horde came tearing through the outer spiral, that brittle peace shattered like glass against plasma. The Vrix were a swarm species, biological nightmares birthed from an unknown system at the galaxy's edge. No ambassadors, no demands, no hesitation. They descended upon the colonies like a virus, stripping planets bare of biomass, devouring every trace of civilization. First went the Yilun colonies, then the stone cities of the Charnathi. When the Corlon bastion of Kryta fell in mere days, panic gripped the Concord. The High Council called emergency meetings. Grand declarations were made. Fleets were mobilized. But when the Vrix cut through defenses like paper, the rhetoric changed. Now it was containment, then isolation, eventually abandonment. System after system was classified as strategically non-essential. Billions were left behind. Billions of sentience, of allies, of friends. The world of Navaris Prime was one such sacrifice. Located in a modest system nestled in the Talus Spur, Navaris Prime had been a joint settlement, a shining symbol of interspecies cooperation. Humans lived alongside the reptilian Zor, the insectoid Pheryx, and the crystalline Lumoari. For nearly a century, they'd built something extraordinary, a society that transcended species, thriving on respect and shared dreams. Then the Vrix came. The Council's decision was swift and cold. Evacuation was deemed logistically infeasible. Defense fleets rerouted. Communications cut. Navaris was abandoned. The announcement, delivered by automated drone, was clinical. May your courage light the stars. There was screaming, panic, riots in the early days. The humans on Navaris, barely a tenth of the population, were among the first to organize relief centers. They distributed food, repaired shelters, rerouted, damaged power grids. They trained anyone willing to fight. They stayed calm, but they were outnumbered, under-equipped, and soon, nearly overwhelmed. And then came the message. From Earth, a scrambled transmission filtered through ancient human emergency protocols. It wasn't from the Concord. It wasn't from a military chain. It was from a single Terran vessel, the Vigilant Dawn, an aging frigate turned refugee hauler. Its message was simple: hold the line. We're coming. You are not alone. The message spread like wildfire, not just among the humans of Navaris, but across the entire abandoned colony. For many, it was the first spark of hope in weeks, a flicker of light in a descending night. Most dismissed it. A single ship, against a swarm? Madness. But for those on Navaris, madness was better than silence. They fought harder. 3 days later, the sky tore open with the arrival of the Vrix. Black, chitinous horrors rained from orbit in living pods. They tore through defenses, devoured structures, screeched their alien hatred into every comms channel. Screams echoed across the plains. Settlements were overrun. Even with united resistance, the defenders were pushed back to the Capitol dome. And then, just as all hope seemed extinguished, it came. Not just the Vigilant Dawn, but dozens of ships, human ships, some barely held together by welds and duct tape. Civilian transports converted into gunboats, mining vessels bristling with rail cannons, a freighter repurposed as a makeshift orbital artillery platform. They had no insignias, no backing, no command, but they had come, not for glory, not for conquest, but because someone asked for help, and humanity had answered. The battle for Navaris became legend. The humans didn't fight like the other races. They didn't retreat when flanked. They didn't break under pressure. They adapted, improvised, dared. When the orbital defenses failed, they kamikaze drones into Vrix pods mid-flight. When the ammo ran low, they retrofitted power tools as weapons. When the dome shields began to collapse, they used scrap metal, rebar, and pure stubbornness to hold the line. The other species fought beside them. Yes, but it was humanity's defiance that became the backbone of resistance. The moment that sealed the Vrix's defeat was captured on a shaky handheld feed. A human woman, bloodied and bruised, climbed atop a pile of wreckage, holding a flare in one hand and a makeshift banner in the other. A white sheet scrawled with 3 words, "Not on our time." Behind her, the Vrix swarm paused. For the first time, they hesitated. It was all the defenders needed. Within hours, the skies cleared. The swarm was routed. Navaris Prime stood. The council sent envoys days later. They spoke of apologies, of reintegration, of strategic errors. No one listened. The survivors didn't need speeches. They had each other. They had Earth. And from that day on, a new phrase entered the galactic lexicon. Whenever a world faced the threat of extinction, whenever diplomacy failed, whenever the Concord hesitated, someone would whisper, "Call the humans," because humanity had a habit of showing up when everyone else ran, not for profit, not for praise, but because someone had to, and humanity had decided, if no one else would stand, they would. If you're still here, drop a like, comment, and subscribe, because if there's one thing humanity never does, it's abandoning those who need them.